Hi guys, I can't tell if the lighting is like good or bad. I keep trying to like adjust it, but I think, is that okay? I don't know. Anyways, hello guys. Sorry, I keep looking at the little like me in the reflection or whatever, not reflection, me on the little screen. But I'm trying not to do that, but it's kind of hard. Sometimes I have to look because I can't tell what the lighting is doing. Anyways, today's video I'm going to be talking about all the books I've read so far this year. I've actually read a lot more than I ever thought I would because I just got back into reading this year after I didn't read for like years. Like I think the last time I finished like a book before this year was like sophomore year of high school. Cause like junior year and senior year, like we had to like read sometimes for school, like reading time in class, and I would read books but I wouldn't finish them. I would just keep like stopping and then picking up new books. So yeah, but I used to love to read, and so I really want to try and get back into it. And so this year I decided I'm gonna start reading, and I did, and I have been, and I really love it again. I've read 12 books this year so far, which my goal was 12 like at the beginning of the year, and then once I read like a couple books, I was like, okay, I'm gonna change my goal to 15 because I know there's gonna be a time where I stop reading for like a little bit, and that did happen. But my goal is 15 this year. I've already read 12. On Goodreads it says I only read 10 because I reread a book that I read like in 8th grade that was like my favorite book, and so I didn't log it, but it counts. And I also read this really short like graphic novel, so it didn't count on there, but it counts to me, okay? Because I read something and it took me like 30 minutes to read that because it was short. We'll get into that. Anyways, oh, I just realized I took out my earrings. I took all my jewelry off. It's already like, it's literally like almost 1 in the morning. But I'm home alone for the weekend. I'm watching my dogs in my house because my family's gone. So yeah, I'm just gonna stop talking and get into the books that I read this year. So yeah. Okay, so I think I organized them in order by how I read them. I don't really remember. I'm trying to look on Goodreads, but I think I did it right. If I didn't, it literally doesn't matter. These are just the books I read. Half of them I literally read in March. I read like 6 books in March. Anyway, so the first book I read this year was The Pigman by Paul Zindel. This was my favorite book like ever for like a long time because, you know, I didn't like read a lot. But this was my favorite one that I had read. I read this, I think, in, like, 8th grade. It was me and my best friend Kyle's, like, favorite book. Like, we were obsessed with this book. And, like, I got him into it. And he, like, it was so fun. But he got this for me for Christmas. And I was like, oh, my gosh. Like, I've been wanting a copy of this, like, reread. And I think it is still one of my favorite books. I think I have a new favorite book that I found from all these books I read. But this is my second favorite book at the moment. But yeah, it's basically about like these two high school students, John and Lorraine, who meet this old man who like loves collecting like pigs. He collects like porcelain pigs, like pig figures, like stuff like that. And John and Lorraine do something that like makes the pig man lose his trust for them. I don't want to like spoil anything, but this is a really good book. I think it's from like 1970 or like oh my god. How did that happen? I don't know. Oh, it's published in 1968, so this is like an older book, but it's really good. I think everyone should read this. It's a pretty quick read. This copy is 193 pages, and the words are like the font is kind of big. It's a really good book. I really wish that I had like the old looking version of the one I read because I read it in class, and I love like the tiny like small books that are like this, that are like old and like worn and have like yellow pages kind of, like, you know what I mean? And I like the cover on the one. This one's kind of just like, oh. But you know what? I still read it. I still love it. This is a 5-star book for me. So this was my first book I read. The next book I read, I think I read this one in February. This is Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I read this because I knew it was getting turned into a show on Amazon Prime, and I really wanted to watch the show, and since I was getting back into reading, I saw this at Target, and I was like, oh, I might as well read it. And then, as I was reading it, I found out my dad was also reading it, so we were, like, kind of reading it at the same time. And, this book is about this band called Daisy Jones and the Six that, like, it shows, like, how they formed, how they broke up, the drama that they all went through, and, like, I don't know how to, yeah, that's basically what it is. I liked this book, but it wasn't, like, I didn't like it as much as I wanted to. The, like, format of it is also very different. It's written, like, I don't know if you can even see, like, it has them talking, like, says Graham, Billy, Warren, and then it says what they're saying. So it's not, like, in quotes, like, they're not talking back and forth or anything. It's, like, an interview style, where each line or whatever section is, like, a different person talking. And that was kind of weird for me at first. It was kind of hard to, like, get used to. Also, I haven't read in so long, so it was like, whoa. Oh, I gave this book 3.5 stars. I just said that I liked it, but not as much as I, like, hoped. I wanted this to be, like, 5 out of 5. It was a 3.5, which is still really good. I also kind of wish that, like, there was more drama. Like, I mean, there was a lot of drama, but, like, the ending kind of felt anticlimactic to me. I like the show a lot more. The show is really good. It really portrays it more in my mind, but the book really makes me feel like the characters are real. Like, they feel like a real band from the 70s, but they, like, don't exist. I mean, now they kind of exist because, like, the show, and they have, like, an album for the show, which was really good. But, like, they don't exist. But it made me feel like they did. Anyways, that's Daisy Jones and the Six. Next, I read Diary of an Oxygen Thief, by Anonymous. And he had a good reason to be anonymous. I remember seeing this book, like, on Tumblr and shit, and, like, Barnes & Noble when I was, like, 14, and I thought the cover was cute, and so I wanted to read it, and the back sounded, like, interesting, and then, like, I just never picked it up, and then I found this at the thrift store for, like, $3 one day, so I bought it, and then eventually I decided to read it because it looked, like, short. This is basically about a man who likes to break women's hearts and, like, use them for his own pleasure, and, like, he's insane. Like, it sounded interesting, though. Like, I was like, oh, interesting. But I gave this book 2 stars. Like, the beginning of the book was interesting, but then, like, it felt like nothing happened. Like, nothing happened. Like, there was no character development. I feel like nothing, like, happened with what was going on. And it just, like, wasn't good. I didn't like the writing either. It just felt like, I don't know. And there was just some, like, weird sus-ass shit he'd said. And I was like, oh, I guess I'm not really, I don't read romance books. I don't think I've ever read a romance book in my life. This is not a romance book. But, like, I've never read, like smut books or anything, and this wasn't really like smut. It just had some like kind of like sus scenes, so I was kind of like, oh, like not used to that. Like, I want to read romance books, but I feel like I wouldn't like them. I don't know, maybe I would, because I used to read fan fiction when I was like 12. So actually I think I would like romance. Anyways, yeah, I don't know, but I didn't like that book. That was a 2-star for me. I actually honestly think it might be a 1-star. I might change it. Anyways, the next book I read was Horror Store by Grady Hendrix. This book, like, is, like, cool. It's, like a different size than normal books, as you can see. And the inside is cool. It's, like, it's basically, hold on, let me explain what it's about. So, this is about this store called Orsk, which is supposed to be kind of like a cheaper version of IKEA, you know? And it's about, like, the employees that work there, and there's, like, weird things happening at night at the store when no one's there. And so, like, a group of employees go over to stay overnight to, like, see what's going on, because they think someone's, like, sneaking in there and staying there. But then, like, it's, like, super, like, paranormal stuff that's actually happening. Each chapter looks like a different item that they sell. I did not like this book as much as I wanted to, and that made me really sad because I was really excited to read it. This was a pretty fast read though. Like, the font is pretty big. It's like 200 something pages, but it didn't feel like that. I could definitely see this as like a movie. Like, this read like a movie in my mind though, which is good. I gave this 2 stars, which is kind of shocking. Like, I feel like it at least deserves like 2.5 or 3, because I feel like if I read this now, I would like it a lot more. I guess it's like comedy horror. I guess I just wanted something that was like straight up horror. Which I knew this one was. I knew it was like kind of comedy, but I don't know. I guess I just didn't really, I don't know. March, I also read this one. This is Girl Interrupted by Susanna Kaysen, right? Yeah. This is like about her real life experience in a psychiatric hospital. And if you recognize the title, it's because it's a movie with Winona Ryder, Angelina Jolie. I don't know, there's like a lot of people in that movie. But I haven't seen it yet, but I plan to watch it. I just like sometimes I have to get in the mood to watch certain things, and I haven't been in the mood to watch it since I read this. I don't know why. Anyways, I like this book. It was really short and really easy to read. I gave it 3.7. That's specific. It was just interesting. I liked it. And in March again, I read Ring by Koji Suzuki. This is the book that was based off of the Ring movies. It's just called Ring. The book is just called Ring. Well, in Japanese, I think it's called Ringu. But in English, it's just Ring. It's not like The Ring, it's just Ring. But it's basically about, if you don't know, it's basically about this cursed videotape that if you watch it, you die within 7 days. This is different than the English movie. The English movie is about a mom and her son and her like ex-husband or ex-boyfriend, and her niece watches the videotape and like dies mysteriously, and like somehow it leads to her finding out about the tape. And yeah, this one is about a writer. I think he was a writer who, it's a man, and his niece also. It's related because his niece also like dies mysteriously, and he figures out about the videotape, and he's trying to like solve it, but he's solving it with his like friend and not his like partner or whatever. I like this book. I gave it 4 stars. But The Ring is one of my favorite horror movies ever, so I think I like the movie more. I haven't watched the Japanese version yet, but I really want to after I read this to see like if it's similar to this one. This book felt more like a mystery to me, which I didn't mind. I still liked it, but it felt more mystery-ish than horror-ish, I guess. There is some interesting choices for this book, though. There is a lot of misogyny and transphobia. So if you're sensitive to that, I would say not to read this. I definitely was not expecting it to have that. I mean, on some of the reviews on Goodreads before I read this, I did see people saying that, and I was like, I wonder like how or like why it's related. I know now. And it's fucking weird. It's so weird. Like, it's for no reason. Like, I don't get it. Like, why? It's just so weird. I do want to read the sequel and the 3rd book, though. Because I am interested to see what more could happen. But yeah, this book made me kind of sad. Like, the ending was sad, and like the transphobia and the reasons for the transphobia was sad and different than the movie. But I did like it though. It was a good read, so 4 stars. Next, I read Mother Thing by Ainsley Hogarth. I think that's how you say it. This cover is so beautiful. Isn't it so slay? It's pink, it's cute. I read this in March too. I was really excited to read this, like really excited. It's about this couple who the husband's mom dies. That's not a spoiler. This is like what's on the back. But she dies in the house, and she's like haunting them. And Abby, the wife, has like a bunch of personal shit that she's dealing with. I don't know how to describe it. And it's kind of about like mommy issues too, because Abby has a lot of mommy issues. So yeah. I did not like this book as much as I wanted to. I was literally so excited for it too, which makes me sad. And it's so pretty. But it was not like very horror-ish, like at all, really. Like some parts, like barely. But it just didn't feel like a horror book to me. The ending was gross and sus. Which, like, I didn't mind, because I came here for, like, gross and, like, horror. But the sus part really threw me off, and that's what made it gross. Yeah. Anyways, this was a 3-star for me. This next book is Pen Pal by Dathan Auerbach. I read this in March as well. This was originally a Reddit, like, post on No Sleep, I think. And it got turned into a book. So I was kind of excited because I love my little Reddit scary stuff. And I like this book. I gave it 3 stars. It was a little like different than I was expecting. It's basically about this kid, this like man who is recounting his memories as a child and how he had like a stalker, kind of. I don't know how to say anything without like spoiling anything. And like he made this friend and kind of talks about him and his friend bonding in like his old house. Yeah, that's basically what it's about. Sorry, I keep saying oh my god. I like this book, but not as much as I wanted to. Again, I feel like every book I want to be 5 stars though. Like, that's how I feel like everyone should feel. If you're reading a book, you want it to be 5 stars. You want it to be good. But some of them just aren't as good as you hoped. So, yeah. This book was honestly, like, pretty sad. It wasn't scary to me. It was mostly sad and, like, creepy. Like, creepy. Not, like, scary, though. Just, like, creepy and, like, eerie. Like, if this should happen to me, I'd be scared. Obviously. But I liked it. It was interesting. So, yeah. I lied. I didn't read this in March. I read this in April. And I finished this at the end of April. And then after that, I got into a reading slump for, like, the entirety of May and June. And then I think toward like the end of June, no, like the middle of June, I picked up this. I ordered this on Amazon a little while ago. It's a graphic novel. It's Fangs by Sarah Anderson. It's very cute. Let me see, sorry, it's very like blurry. But it's just a short little graphic novel. It was very fast. I literally read it in like 30 minutes. But it's basically about this vampire girl and her werewolf boyfriend. Just like hanging out and having fun. And the vampire girl is so cute. I love all her outfits. She's so pretty. The art is so cute. I'm trying to find like a cute picture of her outfit. Hold on. Here's a cute outfit that she has on. Slay. This was a 5 out of 5 because it was just cute, it was fun, it was easy, it was simple. This was a 5 out of 5. And then I decided to read another graphic novel because I was still kind of in a like not reading mood. So I decided to read This One Summer by Jillian Tamaki and Mariko Tamaki. I got this at the thrift store for like $4 and I thought it was so cute. And I waited till summer to read it because it's about summer, so I thought it would fit the vibe. And it's basically about this girl who goes to Owago Beach with her parents every year. And she's like, the summer's like different because her parents are fighting a lot. And she's just like, I don't know. She's a little teen. She's like feeling all the teenage feelings, you know? But it's basically about like her friend and her on this little beach town, hanging out, doing fun stuff, watching movies. Her parents fighting sometimes, her aunt and her grandma visiting too, and like these teenagers that work out at the convenience store there. This is the art style. It's so cute and it's in like a purple color. You could see me like peeking out from behind, that's funny. It's in like a purple color. But I thought it was really cute and I gave it 3 stars. or 3.5 stars. I really liked the illustrations and how it was purple and cute. And I really liked the like idea of it, and you know, it fit the summer vibes. The next book I read, I finished in late June, so I just finished it like recently. This is What Moves the Dead by T. Kingfisher. Look at the cover. It is so beautiful. I really love the cover. This is a retelling of The Fall of the House of Usher by Edgar Allan Poe, which I didn't know that until I was like halfway through this. And I haven't read that. Well, I read it now. I read it like literally 2 nights ago. It was really short. It was only like 20 pages. This is basically about this soldier who got a letter from their childhood friend about how his sister is sick. And they were friends with the brother and the sister, I believe. But it's about, like, the sister is sick. And so the soldier goes to go visit them. And there's, like, weird wildlife. Like, the rabbits act weird. And there's, like, this weird fungus, like, that they think is, like, possessing the rabbits and could possibly possessing people. Possibly could possess people. Did that make sense? Yeah. Anyways. Yeah, and it's about, like, just the house and what goes on in the nighttime. And there's, like, a doctor, this lady who knows about the mushrooms, and then this, no, there's, like, another character. I don't really remember who it was, though. This was a really fast read. It's only, like, 168 pages. But I went to the bookstore, and I bought this because it's been on my TBR for a while. And I was like, I'm gonna get it because I feel like it's short and it'll get me back into reading. And it did. This was a 4-star for me. It was pretty creepy vibes. It didn't, like, scare me, but it was very, like, creepy vibes. And if you read this with, like, some forest ambiance, it's slay. There's also a sequel coming out in March next year, I think. Sometime next year. Early next year, I think. And I'm so excited to read it. I'm definitely gonna read it. And then I read Fall of the House of the Usher. I also heard that Mike Flanagan is making a show or movie for Netflix. Is it Netflix? I don't know. I just feel like he always makes shows for Netflix, so that's what I assume. But I really like Mike Flanagan shows and movies, so I will be seated. It's not like this. It's not What Moves the Dead. It's Fall of the House of the Usher, which is, that didn't have any of, like, the fungus shit, which would be cool for that. But I read The Fall of the House of the Usher the other night. I feel like I don't understand because, like, it's, like, old. No, yeah, it's, like, old. Like, Edgar Allan Poe. And I hadn't read anything Edgar Allan Poe before. So I feel like I didn't understand some of the writing. But I kind of knew what was going on because I read the other one. So, most recent book I read, I just finished last weekend, I think. It is The Memory Police by Yoko Ogawa. This was a 5-star. This book is so good. It's really good. And I keep thinking about it. So yeah. I really liked the writing. I thought it was very beautiful how everything was written. This book was like pretty like sad, honestly. Like it was like a slow burn type sad vibe. And it's about this island and objects disappear like not every day but very often. And like people wake up and they know something's missing and they have to like figure out what it is, and then they have to get rid of every trace of that object or whatever it is. And like you can't have it or the memory police will like take you away. And there are some people who can remember everything, because after an object disappears it gets like erased from your mind, but there's some people who remember everything, and like the memory police are trying to like crack down on people who can know stuff and like take them away. We don't know where they go, but they take them away. And the main character is a writer, and her editor, we find out, remembers everything, so he goes and hides like under her floor. There's also like a book inside this book. It has pages from the manuscript that she's writing that's like a whole different story, and I actually really liked the story that she was writing, so that was interesting too. The cover is also very cool and beautiful, but it was just so sad. Like I couldn't imagine losing some of the things that like disappear in here. I would literally cry. But it was just so good. I don't know, it was so good. And there's a lot of people saying they feel like nothing happened in this book and it wasn't what they wanted. But this is the shit I like. I like sad shit. I liked how it ended, and I liked all of it. And it was very easy for me to read. I was super into it. It wasn't like I couldn't put it down. It was more like when I was reading it, I really got engaged in it, but there was points where I was like, okay, I can stop. But the last 70 pages I read in one night. I stayed up late reading it because that was when I couldn't put it down, because I wanted to know what the fuck was gonna happen, because shit was getting real and it was getting scary and it was getting very sad. My camera says it's getting hot because I've been recording for like 30 minutes, so if the lighting changed or anything, I'm sorry. Anyways, I'm almost done. I'm literally almost done with this video, but I just really love this book, and I loved the ending. I loved everything about it, and it was so good, and the writing was so good. I love the writing. Like, whenever I hear people say like they love the writing of books, or that there's bad writing in books, or there's certain ways people write things, I feel like I can't understand what they mean because I haven't read that many books yet. But this made me understand what they meant, because this writing is beautiful, and I understand now. And I feel like I should have known that anyway, because I used to write a lot in high school, and like I used to love to read. But I'm dumb. Anyways, this was a 5 out of 5 for me. I would love to see this as like a movie. Those are all the books I've read so far this year. I plan to read a lot more. I have so many books on my TBR right now, and so many books. I have literally a pile on my floor of just books that I want to read this year. My next book I'm going to read is Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. This is a memoir about her life and her being in her 20s and her friendships with women and love and jobs and parties, whatever it says on the front, you know. But I heard a lot of people saying this is really good, and it's a book you should read in your 20s as a young woman. And I'm 20. I'm about to be 21 next month. So I feel like this would be a good read for me. And I really like the cover. It's very simple, but I really love the colors. And it's also a show on Peacock, and I really want to watch that too. So this is my next read. I haven't started it yet. I just got it in the mail literally today, but I plan to read it next. Also, the font is really big. Let's go. You can't really tell on camera how the fonts are, but this is a big font, and I love that because that means I can read it faster. Thank you for watching. I hope I didn't talk too much. I feel like I've been talking too much. My last record collection video was literally so long. I put it off for so long because of how long I recorded and how I dreaded editing it and posting it, and it took so long to upload and edit. But it's okay because it's doing well. It has like 200 views right now, and that's good for me because I only have like 90 followers or subscribers, whatever you want to call it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and like and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!